the song was written for my wife, and it was a love song and an encouragement song of how, you know, we're going to be okay in the future type song. It was such a simplistic lyric that I think they actually kind of made fun of the song at first. And Jim told them, you guys really need to think about doing this song. I was sitting at home trying to write some country songs, and I really came from a more pop rock, southern rock, and country background. And we weren't working a lot with Eddie, and so the money, you know, was pretty low, and my wife was working a job in third shift or second shift, and she was a little bit depressed about, you know, why we had been down there a year and we were still struggling. And I remember I kept telling Belinda that, don't worry, we'll be all right. We'll be all right, everything's going to work out, that type of thing. So this particular early afternoon before I took her to work, we only had one car, I was sitting on the couch trying to write a country song, and she says, why don't you try to write something else besides country? So I said, okay, honey. And as I said, we had been going through these financial difficulties, and I kept telling her we'll be all right. And so I took her to work, and I came home, and I had just got a rhyming dictionary I didn't even know how to use. Sat down on the couch, and I started coming up with this melody. And already had the title You and I from, you know, I took that from Changes because that just stuck out to me. And I kept telling Belinda we'll be all right, and that's where, you know, and we'll be all right, just you and I comes from in the song. So I sat there and wrote the song that day while she was at work, and I picked her up after work, and we came home, and we sat down, and I played her the song, and she started crying. That's when I knew I had a good song. Crystal Gill had just come over to Elektra, and Jimmy Bowen, who was running Elektra at the time, wanted her to do a duet with Eddie Rabbitt. I believe this is how the story goes, because she had just come over. And so she was in the studio. There was no second verse. And I don't know at what point in time they decided to double the first verse, I guess when they heard her singing in the background, but she was learning the song. And Eddie was singing, and she was saying, just you and I, which kind of is the harmony at the end of the verse. But they heard her, and it sounded like an answer, and they said, let's try this. So that's where they repeated the first verse. She answered it, and came in and sang. And obviously it turned out awesome.